Today, I'm taking you on a journey through one of the most striking symbols of the Cold War, the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was constructed in 1961 by the German Democratic Republic, or East Germany. It wasn't just a barrier of concrete and barbed wire. It was a prison that tore families apart and repressed millions. But how did it come to be? And what was life like behind it? Let's dive in. After World War II, Germany was left in ruins and divided among the Allied powers, the United States, Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and France. Berlin, the capital, though deep in Soviet-controlled East Germany, was also split. This set the stage for a dramatic ideological conflict known as the Cold War. By 1949, Germany was officially divided into two countries, the capitalist West Germany and the communist East Germany. Berlin found itself a divided city within a divided nation. Between 1949 and 1961, millions of East Germans fled to West Germany through Berlin, seeking freedom and better opportunities. This mass exodus threatened East Germany's stability. To stop this brain drain, East German leader Walter Ulbricht, with Soviet approval, decided to seal the border. On August 13, 1961, construction of the Berlin Wall began. Initially, it was just barbed wire and concrete blocks, but it quickly evolved into a fortified barrier with watchtowers, trenches, and a deadly no-man's land known as the Death Strip. For East Berliners, the wall was a prison. Families were split overnight, and escape attempts were met with deadly force. The wall was up to 12 feet high, guarded by over 300 watchtowers, floodlights, patrol dogs, and minefields. Despite the risks, thousands attempted to escape using tunnels, hot air balloons, and even ramming through border checkpoints. Many were killed trying to reach freedom. The East German government justified the wall as an anti-fascist protective barrier, claiming it was necessary to protect citizens from Western corruption. State-controlled media painted West Germany as a capitalist enemy. Surveillance by the Stasi, East Germany's secret police, created an atmosphere of fear and paranoia, with citizens reporting on each other. By the 1980s, East Germany faced economic collapse. Protests erupted, demanding freedom and reform. The rise of Mikhail Gorbachev's policies of glasnost and perestroika in the Soviet Union weakened the East German regime. On November 9, 1989, East German officials mistakenly announced that border crossings would be immediately opened. Thousands of East Berliners rushed to the wall, overwhelming the border guards. In a moment of confusion and joy, people were allowed to pass freely. The Berlin Wall had fallen. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the beginning of the end for communist rule in East Germany. Less than a year later, on October 3, 1990, Germany was officially reunified. Today, remnants of the Berlin Wall stand as powerful symbols of freedom, resilience, and the struggle against oppression. The Berlin Wall Memorial and the East Side Gallery remind us of the cost of division and the indomitable human spirit. The legacy of the Berlin Wall is a stark reminder that walls built to divide will eventually crumble, and the human spirit will always seek freedom. Thanks for joining me on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating stories from the past. See you next time. Gap 2.58s. In this chapter, we will explore some of the most daring and ingenious escape attempts from East Berlin to West Berlin. From secret tunnels to hot air balloons, these stories highlight the lengths to which people would go to seek freedom. One of the most famous escape attempts was through Tunnel 29. In 1962, a group of students from West Berlin dug a 145-meter-long tunnel beneath the wall. Over the course of several months, they managed to help 29 East Berliners escape to freedom. Another remarkable escape involved two families who built a hot air balloon using scraps of fabric. In September 1979, after several failed attempts, they finally soared over the wall and landed safely in West Germany. Each of these stories is a testament to the ingenuity and courage of those who risked everything for a chance at freedom. The Berlin Wall also had a profound cultural impact. It became a canvas for artists, a subject for musicians, and a theme in literature. The East Side Gallery, a 1.3-kilometer section of the wall, is now the longest open-air gallery in the world, featuring over 100 murals by artists from around the globe. Musicians like David Bowie and Bruce Springsteen performed in Berlin, their songs echoing the desire for freedom and unity. Bowie's Heroes, inspired by a couple kissing by the wall, became an anthem of hope and resilience. Writers and filmmakers also drew inspiration from the wall. John le Carré's espionage novels, for example, captured the tension and intrigue of Cold War Berlin. Films like The Lives of Others and Goodbye Lenin explore the human impact of the wall and the Stasi's pervasive surveillance. Today, the legacy of the Berlin Wall continues to resonate. It stands as a powerful symbol of resilience and the human spirit. The Berlin Wall Memorial and the East Side Gallery remind us of the cost of division and the indomitable will to overcome it. In a world where new walls are still being built, the story of the Berlin Wall serves as a poignant reminder that barriers can't contain the human desire for freedom. Thanks for joining me on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating stories from the past. See you next time. In this chapter, we delve into the origins of the Berlin Wall, its construction, and the immediate reactions it provoked on both sides. The Berlin Wall was erected almost overnight on August 13, 1961. Under the cover of darkness, East German soldiers and workers began to seal off the border between East and West Berlin. Barbed wire fences were quickly replaced by concrete slabs, and within days, a fortified barrier began to take shape. The wall would eventually stretch 155 kilometers, cutting through the heart of Berlin and dividing families, friends, and communities. The political implications of the wall were profound. For the East German government, it was a desperate measure to stop the mass exodus of its citizens to the west. Between 1949 and 1961, an estimated 2.5 million East Germans had fled to West Germany, seeking political freedom and economic opportunities. The wall was a stark symbol of the Cold War, representing the ideological divide between the communist East and the capitalist West. The initial reactions from Berliners were ones of shock, disbelief, and anger. Families were suddenly torn apart, with no warning and no chance to say goodbye. Historical footage shows tearful reunions at the few remaining crossing points, where people could catch a fleeting glimpse of their loved ones through barbed wire and armed guards. In the West, the construction of the wall was met with outrage and condemnation. US President John F. Kennedy famously declared, "Ich bin ein Berliner," expressing solidarity with the people of West Berlin. In the East, the government justified the wall as a protective measure against fascist aggression. But for many East Berliners, it was a prison wall, symbolizing oppression and isolation. Propaganda from the East German government attempted to portray the wall as a protective barrier against Western spies and saboteurs. Yet the reality was clear. The wall was designed to keep people in, not to keep enemies out. The immediate impact of the wall's construction was devastating. Families were separated, livelihoods disrupted, and a city was split in two. But despite the wall's imposing presence, it could not crush the human spirit. Over the years, many East Berliners found ingenious ways to escape to the West, demonstrating that the desire for freedom could not be contained by concrete and barbed wire. The Berlin Wall stood for 28 years, a grim reminder of the division and tension of the Cold War. Its fall in 1989 marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in history. The story of its construction and the reactions it provoked serve as a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring quest for freedom. In this final chapter, we turn our attention to the dramatic fall of the Berlin Wall, the events that led up to it, and the profound aftermath that reshaped the world. By the late 1980s, the political landscape in Eastern Europe was changing rapidly. The Soviet Union, under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, introduced policies of glasnost and perestroika, promoting openness and economic reform. These changes set the stage for a wave of revolutions across the Eastern Bloc. In East Germany, the call for freedom grew louder. Massive protests erupted in Leipzig and other cities, with thousands of East Germans demanding political reform and the right to travel freely. On November 9, 1989, a fateful error by a government spokesperson led to an unexpected announcement that East Germans would be allowed to cross the border freely. The news spread like wildfire. Thousands of East Berliners gathered at the checkpoints, overwhelming the guards. In an unprecedented moment of confusion and joy, the gates were opened and the Berlin Wall, the symbol of division, began to crumble. Insert interview clip of an East Berliner who experienced the fall. "I remember the moment vividly. It was like a dream. We were hugging strangers, crying and laughing. It was a moment of pure euphoria." Insert historical news clip of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Tonight, history is being made in Berlin. The Berlin Wall, which has divided the city and the world for nearly 3 decades, is coming down. The fall of the Berlin Wall was not just a physical event, it was a powerful symbol of the end of the Cold War. It marked the beginning of the reunification of Germany and the collapse of communist regimes across Eastern Europe. Insert interview clip of a West Berliner. For us, it was a moment of joy and relief. The wall had been a constant reminder of division and uncertainty. Its fall meant a new beginning, not just for Berlin, but for the entire world. The aftermath of the fall was both exhilarating and challenging. The reunification of Germany brought about a wave of economic and social changes. There were celebrations, but also challenges as the two Germanys worked to integrate their political, economic and social systems. The fall of the Berlin Wall also had a profound impact on global politics. It signaled the end of the Cold War and the beginning of a new era of international relations. The world watched as Eastern European countries embraced democracy and market economies. Insert personal story of a family reunited after the fall. We had been separated for over 20 years. When the wall came down, it was like a miracle. We were finally able to be together again, to live as a family. The legacy of the Berlin Wall is a reminder of the human cost of division, but also of the power of hope, resilience, and the unyielding desire for freedom. As we reflect on the fall of the Berlin Wall, let us remember the lessons it taught us about the importance of unity, freedom, and the enduring human spirit. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history. If you found this chapter meaningful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations into the past. See you next time.